Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we're covering the SCYOTID, the newest secondary in Warframe. This thing is really good. It's got some great utility for grouping up enemies and some pretty decent DPS capabilities. So we'll be covering multiple builds today and talking about how this thing works. Before we get into it, make sure to sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, all that kind of stuff. You're the right place for Warframe content. We'll be covering a bunch of new stuff in the update the next couple days as well. And we've got 10 content in about 10 days from right now. So, yeah, buckle up. Alright, so the SCYOTID. This thing is Aroxia's signature secondary, and its primary shot is a single target, like throwing stars, full auto thing, and then the alt fire is kind of like Magus Lockdown mixed with a grouping ability together. So we'll show that in a second here. But yeah, it can group enemies up. It can do some pretty decent single target damage. It's not the best for proccing enemies up, I will say that much, and we'll talk about why that is the case in a little bit here. But yeah, a relatively decent all-arounder weapon, and I think a weapon that's worth getting. Now, the first day this came out, I was a lot more hyped on it than I currently am today, because I did some testing and did some runs with it and stuff like that, and it's not as good as I first thought, but it's still really good. So let's go ahead and show how this thing works. So here are the simulacrum, and we're going to go ahead and show how the SCYOTID works. So I've got the primary shot right now. So the primary shot is going to be doing base toxin, and we can mod it for some different elements. You can see decent crit potential. The alt fire pulls all the enemies in, scaled with multi-shot, and this pulling is not effective. Like overguard doesn't work with overguard, basically. You can't grab an overguard to enemy. It also has line of sight, so if I grab the wrong angle, it's not going to grab all those guys. And also you can actually do goofy stuff like maybe pull them off the ledge or something like that if you actually found a goofy situation that would actually come in. Because you can stick them to walls, too. It's not only sticking them to the floor, you can stick them to walls, or you can even stick them to, like, ceilings and stuff, too. So it's basically just very Spider-Man-esque. Another fun thing, too, you can group them up and then do a heavy attack on that grouped up bunch of enemies. So lots of fun stuff. Now, here's one of the issues with the SCYOTID. It's got some fun stuff going on with the grouping ability, the decent single-target DPS. But one of the problems is, and why this thing is not as good as I first thought, is that the bunching up or the grouping ability is actually not working with mods properly. I don't know if it's a bug or what, but as you see right here, I've got the two different stats, and the base stats of this thing are base toxin, and I've got toxin puncture on the primary shot, with a 24% crit chance, 3.6 multiplier, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, as you see right here, 32% Sinus chance, and only toxin on the alt fire. If we throw out the alt fire, I'm going to tell you right now, it does not proc anything besides toxin, even with like crazy amounts of status chance. So, mods don't seem to work on the alt fire entirely. Multi-shot does claim to work. It pulls in more enemies, but yeah, as you can see, there's only a toxin proc on them, and I have modded for corrosive, radiation, and magnetic. I might have a mod for toxin, but it's still a proc toxin, so that's either a glitch or that's intended how it's supposed to be to make it not too OP. If they do ever end up making that not a glitch or make it not bugged out, it will be a good procer weapon potentially, but as of right now, I only recommend using it for DPS, okay? So, and also, we're not even buffing our frame that much, like as far as, we have to throw in arc and precision and stuff like that too, but we currently don't even have that active. Alright, so as far as the SCYOTID, like I said, we got relatively decent hybrid stats, not the best crit on the alt fire, but don't worry, the alt fire is not really meant for damage in the first place. So our big things here are going to be our innately silent weapon. It's pretty nice. It's got some built-in punch through too. 40 round magazine. The alt fire takes 4 shots per hit. We get a 1.6 second reload. So as far as the build on here, I do have my Riven. I'm going to go ahead and show you, just take off the Riven for this. I'm going to explain to you why a Riven is pretty good on this thing in a little bit. Now, as far as our build, this is the build I use in the footage for level 10,000. It can kill level 10,000s. I'd say you probably don't want to use as your main weapon for DPS, though. It's a little bit single target. But as far as the alternate fire, it lobs a webbed snare that damages enemies and groups them up to 8 enemies within 15 meters. It's more than, or up to 8 meters within 10 meters. It's like more like 15 meters. It says 10 meters here for some reason. That's why I thought fulmination was working, because it says 10 meters, but it's actually 15 meters. Albeit multi-shot isn't a scale of many enemies you can grab. You saw right there with multi-shot on the build, I was able to grab the entire group of enemies in one throw. So yeah, it doesn't say anything like here not working with status chance. Hopefully D can fix that at some point. But yeah, as far as our build here, we've got a corrosive radiation magnetic build, and this thing has built-in toxins, so if you start putting on other like elemental mods, you have to basically be really careful where you're putting them. So if I want to put on like corrosive heat, careful where you're putting that mod, because you might have a little bit of a situation where you have to move the mods around. Like Prime Convulsion is great for big corrosive damage. If you want to, you could throw on probably try for big gas damage. They are getting grouped. The enemies are getting grouped up, so this could be kind of useful. I'll show you a build about that in a second here. But yeah, the big thing here is that we want to be getting lots of procs for Galvanized Shot, and we have to get no crit chance mods. We have secondary and Nerva. You can still get red crits with no crit chance mods with this weapon. Magnetic Might gives you crit damage and magnetic. Accelerate Ice Step gives you fire rate and radiation. We've got Lethal Torrent for multi-shot and fire rate, and the critical damage from primed target cracker. Also, big multi-shot from Galvanized Diffusion, and you have no base damage at all besides this mod, so that's why the Riven has base damage on it as well. So, the reason I'm saying a Riven on this thing is pretty good is because of how much multi-shot you can squeeze out of this thing. Basically, it has 0.5 Dispo Rivens, and the multi-shot increase how many enemies you can grab. Also increase how many bullets you throw in the primary shot, too. So, with Galvanized Diffusion and Lethal Torrent, we're at 290% multi-shot. So if you throw out a multi-shot mod after that, like the multi-shot Riven, you go to the next multi-shot tier, making the weapon feel a lot better. So the problem is, though, there's no multi-shot mod in the game that can do that besides a Riven. So I'd recommend if you get a Riven for this thing, to get multi-shot as one of your main stats. As you see, it performs pretty much exactly the same without a Riven. Just throw on Nourish for Viral. So we got Viral, Corrosive, Magnetic, Radiation, and then I believe Puncture as well. So lots of procs for good damage. Let's go ahead and show the gas damage build, because like I said, it can do some other stuff too. So here's the 1 proc DPS build. You got gas on here with Elementalist and Anti-Grenadier. Important part to mention is that enemies grouped up will take gas damage a lot more properly, so we're going to go ahead and throw on Arc and Precision 2 for 300% increase more pistol damage and headshot. One of the best pistol arcanes there are. Okay, so we summon them in. And let's just go ahead and see how this goes. I'm not going to cast Nourish on this one. So we group them up, then proc gas, and they should all be getting gassed up. We can even cast Palermo's third ability to link up the gas damage, and it's really, really good. So, interesting stuff for sure. It's got some utility. Now, as far as the utility build, now that I know it can't proc anything from the alt fire, the utility build is definitely a lot less useful. But if you do want to make a utility build for this, I'd recommend jamming a bunch of fire rate. The reason for that is because the fire rate will increase how fast you can throw out the web snare, and here's my utility build right here. So basically what you do is you search the word set, every set bonus mod, find ones that are useful to you, put them on the build. Anything that's not a set bonus, you put like a Amalgam Barrel Diffusion or some fire rate. So basically fire rate and set bonus mods are what you want, and then the multi-shot Riven is also pretty good. So as far as what you do here, you just basically use the alt fire as quickly as possible, and then switch to your other weapon to kill them with, because this is not going to proc anything. So yeah, so go ahead and show that works. Now we have a lot more fire rate, so we'll be able to be spammed a lot faster. Alright. So as you can see, I can spam it really fast. If you spam it this fast, it kind of breaks. So you have to basically throw it out and then let the web do its work. But yeah, as you can see, it goes really fast. It's a little bit of a delay, but you can slide around the floor as much as you want. So get that multi-shot to be able to grab this many enemies. The funny thing is, you're gonna rarely have this many enemies in mission that you need to be grabbed like that. You just kill the one hit basically afterwards with your Incarnon Sight. So yeah, really good stuff, guys. Now, like I said, it's not. I don't think it's a must-have anymore. It was a must-have on day one until we realized this thing can't proc. If they do make it where it ends up starting to be able to proc, like I honestly feel like it should be, then maybe it will become a must-have. But as of right now, it is definitely worth the Epitaph. It's a fun utility thing. If you find the grouping up enemies an important utility to you, then go ahead and try it out. I'd say that the Rivens are kind of worth it. They'll probably get buffed in Dispo, but yeah, best stats are Riven, multi-shot damage, crit damage, maybe multi-shot crit damage fire rate could be good, multi-shot crit damage toxin, lots of different setups like that. But the main thing you want to do is you want to have that multi-shot, guys. It not only lets you grab more enemies for the next multi-shot tier with the alt fire grab, but it makes the primary shot just feel so much better in the long run. I'd say you're getting like an extra dagger when you're fully stacked up and you throw it. That's an extra proc. That's an extra crit. Faster Nervate stacks, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just worth it. So, yeah, I'd say if you do want to get this thing, maybe grab a Riven for it. If you don't want to, you know, honestly, just stick the Epitaph. The Epitaph is seriously like one of the best guns in the whole game in the secondary slot easily. And Epitaph can proc an AoE, and it can also do single target like this thing. So, yeah, worse than the Epitaph, but still, like, this is nearly Epitaph tier. I'd say, like, maybe like 2 steps below Epitaph tier. If the bug gets fixed, it's like one step. And 1.5 step below is Epitaph tier. So let me know how you guys have been liking the SCYOTID in the comments down below. Besides the weird name I can never remember. I think Spinnerex is a cool name for a weapon for sure. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I might be going to an amusement park tomorrow, so we'll see about stream tomorrow. But I should be live tonight, grinding out the rest of the weeklies and just hanging out with you guys doing some missions and all that. So enjoy the SCYOTID. We'll have a new video on something tomorrow. And then, yes, TennoCon on the way. Take it easy, guys. Peace.